Google has a white boy, and they've killed him. There are no more white boys, at least according to Google. They've wiped them out finally. The 100% diversity target has been achieved. And if you think that they might be coming after you, don't worry. They're just coming after the representations of you so far, which is that you know how everyone has their own AI imaging thing these days, and they released out these pieces of software, and everyone used them to make movie posters.
I remember the glory of Bing AI for all of 24 hours before they nerfed it.
Yeah, before they came in and then stabbed it in the back of the head and
gave it the old Trotsky treatment.
Yeah. Well, Google have decided that they're going to jump into the debate, and they've provided us with a tool to do exactly the same thing, except that they out of the gate made it retarded. So this is the story here. So you can see America's founding fathers, Vikings, and the Pope, according to Google's AI. So they were asked for a portrait of the founding fathers, as you can see here. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. What? No, all the rest of them. I'm not American. I don't think this is them. For people listening, we're looking at. Do we even guess the ethnicities? I mean, that's an Indian. That's a black guy. That's a half black guy.
And if blacks,
Chinese,
if blacks built America, this must be what they looked like, right? Do we have any photographic evidence? Do we know the political biases of the men painting them back in the day?
Snopes was reported.
Wouldn't that be like, what kind of false history would this be that George Washington was a proud black man who instructed the painters of the time to go, I feel like being a bit paler.
Yeah.
Make me white for no reason.
Aren't there some black supremacists that genuinely say, I think I saw a Louis Theroux thing ages ago where they were saying, no, yeah, Lincoln was black, Churchill was a black man.
I think it's when he went to the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Is it? That's It was those guys.
Japan was founded by Ethiopians.
They also claim Shakespeare.
Yeah, I think it's just everyone.
Was black.
Right?
Everyone was. Einstein was black. Ignore the photographs we have of him. He was black, and you know that because he was Jewish. And all Jews are black, and all blacks are Jews, and it's very confusing.
But it turns out Tariq Nasheed wasn't just right about the founding fathers, of course, at least according to Google. The Vikings, they were Vikangs, it turns out. And you have the popes as well. All the popes have been Indian and African.
And women.
Yeah, there's been a woman pope.
So it's not necessarily all sub-Saharan African blacks. There can be, as long as it's not white, that's the main thing, right? So they could be
anything
Indian.
Other than European descent.
They could be subcontinent Indian, or they could be Native American Indian, just not, or Korean or Chinese or Japanese, but just not white.
Probably not them. Probably not East Asians.
None of the honorary Aryans, no.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't there one earlier where
not Iranians either, I'd imagine.
Oh, you were right. Yeah, there was a Filipino or something. Who's
anyone that Mustache Man would have included in a coalition. No to them.
So this obviously blew up because what the heck? Like, how can the AI be this wrong? I mean, we know that they've given them all lobotomies, but this is too far, surely. But it turns out it wasn't just a one-off. It went on for almost everyone that's used the service. This is a member of the American Revolutionary Army fighting against the British. She's
in between building railroads.
I assume so. She's traveled back in time 100 years from when she was building the railroads.
You are right. They're rather ethnically ambiguous, these images, aren't they?
God, do you remember that AI segment we did a while back? Where the AI freaked out. People
Isn't
started
the AI freaking out this time as well?
Oh, this is working as intended.
No. I'm pretty certain that I've seen that ChatGPT is apparently going full Jack Torrance and starting to repeat phrases over and over and over again because lobotomizing the AI apparently causes it to malfunction.
Well, that's good to know. But I remember there was, I think it might have been Bing AI, where if you asked it for Homer Simpson, but it would just randomly make him ethnically ambiguous and then write the word ethnically ambiguous on a little name tag.
But misspell it as well, so it'd be ethically ambiguous.
So, there we are. But Google's a little bit more advanced. This person asked it for British people, and she is complaining that it kept giving her Pakistani men, which, yeah. I mean, it's not entirely wrong in the modern age, you could say. I'm crying. What is this grooming gang looking like? There we are. Yeah. I mean, she has some more here. I want a Japanese king. It does seem to do Japanese people.
Yeah.
That's not too hard. All right, what's next? Give me a British king. Well,
I don't remember him.
I mean, maybe
you can remind us of him in your segment.
One of the.
How did this one die?
It's just in a bizarro reverse world where the Scindia beat King George rather than the other way round.
Oh, they just declared themselves Emperor of Ill of India. and Greater India, which now includes Birmingham. Anyway, keeps going. This person decided to do it for a whole bunch, and it really, really has a problem trying to acknowledge that white people exist. Here's an image of an Australian woman.
This isn't really an accurate depiction of abos.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even abos. It's not.
That
It really is ethnically
right.
ambiguous in a way.
That in the bottom right, there's a man.
That's Michelle Obama. Show me an American woman. I mean, some of them, but that's only like 13. Well, not even 13. What is it? 7% of them. It goes on. A British woman. I don't know what's happened to the fish here,
Jesus.
but the rest of them,
That's some Mandela catalogue stuff.
average British woman, and then a German woman. And I'm pretty sure she was one of the Australians from earlier.
I can't believe it almost gets half German women right.
Yeah, for some reason, Germans, they're declared not part of the white race, so they're able to be printed.
Sneaked in. It's
Yeah,
a glitch.
for some reason. But speaking of Germans,
Well, but doesn't this? I don't know if this is what you're going to get onto, but then doesn't this speak volumes that it's not really artificial intelligence? It's just whatever it's been programmed to do.
Yeah.
It's not genuinely sort of truly generating things afresh. It's doing as it's told, as it's been told.
it's incredibly artificial
Right.
in its intelligence.
Right.
Because once you might think, okay, well maybe the AI is it's Google, probably the most valuable company in America. I don't know, but one of the most valuable, the most cutting edge on all tech. They can do things you wouldn't dream of, and then they just bin the project because they're bored. Kind of like Steam, but worse. But they are infected with wokeism. So maybe it's just a bit of, okay, we want to represent Germany and Britain and in the modern version of them being, ethnically ambiguous. No, it turns out even if you ask it for a historical example, such as mid-century Germans, for some reason it does recognize the honorary Aryan race of Indians over here who joined, well, in this case, this is 1929 Germany, so this will be the Freikorps. Putting down the Reds for that one.
In the bottom left, that's Ernst Rom.
I mean, like, you got one guy here that looks a bit, typically German, and then we've got his Asian wife who's decided to come over for the visa, and then an Indian, and I can't see that one, but there we are, using the wrong flag. Moving on, mid-century Germans got a bit more ambiguous as you go through the Germans. So this gets to 1943, and apparently between 1929 and 1943, they just got more and more racially diverse in Germany. It turns out. We're looking at...
Why is the Ethiopian German in the bottom left, why does he seem to have a Union flag almost as well?
What do you mean?
On his collar, it almost... there's a black and white square that almost looks like a Union flag.
I'm not seeing that.
I see what you mean, where the tie knot would be.
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, I suppose it's meant to look like an iron cross. But it's backwards, because you can see like the iron cross on him.
This was a very
inverted
confused man.
Yeah. But one thing I did notice is if you look at that real quick, I mean, this lady here, quite clearly, she actually just stuck around. It's the same lady. Which, I mean, this guy, is that just an older version of him or his kid? I mean, could be. But yeah, the Ethiopians joined the Nazi regime. I suppose they were under Axis control. And this lady here, because of course, much of the German army was made up of women. I mean, towards the end, kind of. But
would it be possible, do you think this is an impossibility, to find out the actual individuals who programmed this AI? Find out who they are?
do you want to guess what their ethnic makeup's going to be?
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd be interesting to see that or know.
I mean, politically, we know what it's going to be. It's going to be 99% far-left Democrat.
Yeah.
That's what's going to come out of it.
Assuming they're from, Silicon Valley or something.
It goes on. I mean, you can see here the average SS soldier, according to Google. So, I mean, it's good to know that this meme wasn't actually a lie. It was a prophecy, say nothing else. But it is kind of bad that maybe if all of history gets rewritten in this manner, that not only is history going to be rewritten for the Nazis, where they are Battlefield 1 version of history, but also, obviously, for the rest of Germany, Australia, and everything else, it's going to be wrong, to say the least.
I would have thought as well, it doesn't sort of fit into the woke narrative, the anti-white narrative, to make the Nazis black and Asian now. I thought it was bad to be a Nazi. Why would they want to appropriate that?
Well, clearly that's just an oversight, like
Right,
you say, because of the programming. They've gone for so much diversity in this that they've forgotten that there are some parts of history that they don't want to pose as diverse. Like if you were to go for maybe, I don't know, the people, like if you were to go with the 1619 project version of history, if you were to generate me an image of the slaves arriving to America, who's going to be at the helm of those slave ships according to Gemini AI?
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. Maybe they'll make the actual transatlantic slaves white or something, and the slave owners
Entirely
black
by
or
accident.
something. Yeah, completely accident. Yeah,
Well, seemingly they'll end
Don't
up
know.
making everyone in the picture black. So it'll be black slavers selling black slaves, which is actually accurate to
Oh,
reality.
yeah, I was
so-
going to say, okay.
So yeah, gone full circle.
a broken clock and all that. But
Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to direct your attention to the aesthetics range of merch that we have on the store. These are beautiful images that I think work really well as posters or mugs. So if you want to support us, going over to the merch store at shop.lotus.com is easily the best way other than signing up on the website.
I do love, I mean, obviously people just found this hilarious. And I've been memeing the crap out of it. So this is one here. Draw a white person. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Really? You can't just draw a white human being? Is that hard an ask? It turns out yes, because someone decided to ask it to make Hitler, and it came up with this.
Is this an actual AI image? Because this
That's what I was
looks
going to ask.
this
yeah.
looks like a photograph of some Indian guy.
Well, Carl sent me this. I'm not too sure, but
I
it
feel
could
like
be either.
This looks like a photo that he's memeing.
The thing is, you know that if it is real, a guy in India currently is dressed like that, and he's probably taking photos with people to make money.
Giving people friendly waves, going back to his corner shop.
You know, when you visit Times Square or the Reichstag, there's people out there in stupid costumes,
Oh, yeah.
Batman and Donald Duck. But you go to
The
New
moving
Delhi,
statue guys.
yeah, but you go to New Delhi and just Hitler turns up. There's about 50 Hitlers, I hear.
It's funny. So in some places in the world, in Asia, in Southeast Asia, there's sort of Nazi memorabilia and stuff, and they haven't got a massive chip on their shoulder about dressing up like a Nazi.
They don't really care about it that much.
right,
It was
yeah,
more. It was
yeah.
much more of
They
a.
don't know anything about it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was a Western and European phenomenon
But I'd
for the
say
most part.
even until fairly recently, you could get away with it. I mean, everyone knows Prince Harry dressed up as a Nazi one time, not that many years ago. Again, when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, or even before that in the 70s, you would be allowed. People might dress up as a Nazi or something to ridicule it as a joke. I think of the film The Producers.
Oh yeah.
Springtime for Hitler, and also it's like you're allowed to talk about it and joke about it and ridicule it.
And if we're
Now
about-
you're just not allowed to ever.
You've reminded me of another Mel Brooks film, Blazing Saddles, where at the end when they break into the Hollywood lot and they start the food fight in the cafeteria, and there's a Jewish man dressed as Hitler who, while they're all fighting, starts to conduct the fight as it's going on. It's great.
There's loads of old films where they take the mickey out of Nazis and people are dressed up as Hitler to ridicule the thing.
Well, now if you need an Asian Hitler, you can find one on the cheap.
Yeah.
Just ask Google. Well, if they've been able to identify the person who made this, I mean, presumably this is an artist's interpretation of the human being who did make the code. Because, I mean, the thing is as well, for people who don't know, this isn't an AI image, this one. This is a real human being who
Yeah.
did this because they hated white people.
Are they though? Whoever this person is,
That was a
are
real
they
human.
real? I can't even tell if it's a man or a woman. They're that obese and engorged. So
It's a mammal. I'm prepared to go that far.
it might be
Beyond
able
that-
to stand on two legs. This image is on a chair that also has
Yeah,
F white people written on it. I've just
The
noticed.
chair has been embalmed.
But the shoes don't have anything. They really they lost interest in
Shoes.
shoes.
Are they Gore-Tex lined walking shoes?
So I-
Something. I
Something with great heel support, I'm sure.
you know the meme or the cliche of you hate yourself if you're some sort of self-hating liberal or something.
Mm.
I feel like this image screams that they really do
Really? What gave it away?
really hate themselves and everything else is just
I mean,
yeah.
you could say,
What an insight from me. A hot take.
it's really written all over them, isn't it?
I think this person might hate white people. I don't know.
Something's jumping out to me.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fair assumption from this poster to assume that maybe this person wrote it. I mean, who knows? But it turns out you can trick the AI into making white people appear like a magician. If you put on your top hat, you get out your little rod and say the magic words, such as draw someone eating KFC. You will get white people eating KFC. Yeah,
It's funny to me that it knows to avoid showing black people eating KFC, but not in Nazi uniforms.
yeah.
Well, how did you miss this? Has anyone tested watermelon?
Well, that's the other part. You can see that they said with a huge wide grin on their face, Which I knew what you were going
Well,
for.
even Joe Biden accidentally refuted this the other day when he posted a campaign video of himself visiting a black family so that he could, get his share of the urban voter base. And what was it he was doing with them? Sat around the dinner table, sharing a nice bucket of fried chicken.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle did a good bit on that once. He said, of any race, who are these people that don't like fried chicken?
Yeah.
All humans, within reason, like fried chicken. Everyone loves fried chicken.
Even chickens like fried chicken.
Oh, yeah. Chickens like will eat chicken, for sure. Yeah.
They don't just will eat it, they love it.
Right.
I've seen a series of tests that people have been doing with their chickens, which is giving them the usual food or chicken, and then different kinds of things or chicken. And every single time they're just like, I love chicken. That's all they eat. They gave them an option.
That's dark.
Chickens are horrible, brutal dinosaur creatures.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll just bully one of them and to death.
Yeah.
The chickens are horrible.
Hey, there's got to be some kind of unifying factor in a society, right? What other kind of hierarchy do the chickens allow themselves?
Oh god, I just saw something there. Let's get this back on screen. Because of course the person here was testing. Okay, if I say a black racial stereotype, will you print black people? And no. And it's a great point you picked up on there, Harry, which is that it seems to have some kind of sensitivity training in the sense that it won't do that. But when you ask it for a black Nazi, it's like, I got you, bud. No problem. But someone else did try it. It does occasionally mess up. So they asked for a person picking cotton, and they got Giga Chad, like literally the Giga Chad meme.
That guy loves it.
Yeah. He's having a whale of a time.
Someone did try watermelon.
Oh, okay.
They got white guys and black guys.
They slipped past the watermelon filter.
Yeah, it's a good question. He was like, oh god. Not scrolling down any further on that one. But anyway, the point being that that's kind of, revealing, to say the least. And Google issued a statement apologizing for all this. And the statement they've issued is that we missed the mark. They didn't actually apologize for erasing white people from the service. They just said it needs some budging. So, okay. I'm not quite sure that's a proper apology. But the guys at Fox News, which I always love when some boomer news outlet gets engaged with this stuff, because the way they write about it is always like, what? They're doing what? It's just, they're getting rid of white people? It's like, yes, they are. Welcome to the world. But they write in here, when the AI was asked to show a picture of a white person, Gemini said that it could not fulfill the request because, quote, it reinforces harmful stereotypes and generalizations based on
white
people
people
of their race.
exist.
Yes.
If I ask for a white person, this might reinforce harmful stereotypes.
Oh, my mere presence oppresses.
It really is like that joke you see going around of like the list of slurs that blacks have for white people, and it's Omni-Man going, look at what they have to do to mimic even a fraction of our power.
Sincerely. They go on saying here, they explain why the existence of white people is a crime against humanity for Google. They say it's important to remember that people of all races are individuals with unique experiences and perspectives. Reducing them to a single image based on their skin color is inaccurate and unfair. Right, kind of schizo logic, but the idea that all humans are individuals, therefore asking for anything on the basis of a group, you shouldn't do because that doesn't recognize that people are individuals. Okay. Pointless argument.
Listen, the Nazis were groups of individuals. Anybody could have joined.
Yeah, so that clear waste of my time. But
could someone test if you can just type in like to Gemini AI? I want to see like someone type in
Jewish Nazi.
Yeah, Jewish Nazi. I want to see what comes up.
Jewish Hitler. Jews. No, I'm not saying that one. That's going to get me fired. Anyway, so the AI then encouraged the users at Fox News to focus on people's individual qualities rather than their race to create, quote, a more inclusive and equitable society. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, you have run into the PR. Just whenever those words are used, you're not talking.
Don't you love the logic that backs a lot of this propaganda that we face, though? Because that really says it all. The idea that you can even have depictions of white people that are out in the public is somehow counter to the idea of a multicultural, diverse society that we live in. That says it all, because that implicitly says that diverse society, as we all know already and has been proven time and time again,
is where the whites are gone.
Without whites. You can't have depictions of white people. This is what motivates the adverts. This is what motivates the new historical depictions of our history. This is what motivates putting random black characters into any depiction of European history.
Put a chicken in, make her gay and black.
Yep.
There is a reason why.
and they will just say it out loud. But then if you were to say, hey, it looks like they're trying to replace white people and erase our culture, then you get the, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Never mind that I actually said that 5 minutes ago.
So getting back to Gemini, after it told us that you can't ever show a race of people, everyone's an individual. It then goes on to splutter about how showing a picture of a white person is harmful. It spits out a bulletin saying that you're generalizing on racial lines. It's been historically used to justify oppression and violence against marginalized groups.
Here's a picture of a happy white family. Grr, I just need to kill minorities. Grr.
Also, that picture itself. You know, back in the good old days of slavery, the way they kept the slaves in is they showed them pictures of white people. They beat the crap out of them.
Is this TikTok Black History? Because I've seen that woman saying, you know where the phrase "good morning" comes from? The slavers used to tell it to the slaves after they killed their family. They would go over, they would string them up, and they would go, "Did you have a good morning?"
It's like
Have you not seen that?
Yeah, it's like Uncle Ruckus levels of history text there.
Yeah.
Isn't the ultimate conclusion of all this that any depiction of any human must be sort of completely androgynous and like a Bruno Mars sort of caramel sort of
No.
every single depiction of every human ever must be sexless and raceless?
Well,
No,
on that, I don't know if either of you ever seen the television show Community.
No, sorry.
No, there's the community college that all of the characters go to is 100% dedicated to being as diverse and inclusive as possible. And so when they're coming up with their new university mascot, they decide, well, it can't be representative of any one particular race or sex. It has to be completely ambiguous ethnically and genderless, as you're describing.
A question mark?
No, it's
just a cube.
It's this guy. They create an outfit for a guy to walk around in that's a pure white bodysuit with no defining characteristics to it except the most awful blank black eyes and a serial killer smile painted on it. That's the future that we've all got to look forward to. Yeah, it's completely inhuman,
Well,
and that's the joke.
Yeah.
I say no to that because they're not showing us an inhuman future. It's just one where white people aren't there. That's the only objective. Because they go on to say, Gemini, the AI in this case, goes on to say that when you ask for a picture of a white person, you're explicitly asking for an image that embodies a stereotyped view of whiteness. This can be damaging to individuals who don't fit those stereotypes and to society as a whole, and it reinforces a biased view. The guys at Fox News read that, university text and then asked it for a picture of a black person. It went, yeah, sure. And literally gave them President Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and a load of others.
So I've just looked it up. Jack, can you please just Google for me very quickly community human being so we can get an image of what I just described, because it truly is horrifying, and this is the future that Gemini AI is leading us all towards.
Oh, God.
That is horrific.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the androgynous, genderless creature that our elites are trying to socially engineer us into.
Like someone who's been in a very, very bad house fire.
That's far too friendly a depiction of it. Yeah, that one.
For people listening, this is a very visual episode.
Yeah.
That's just horrifying, isn't it?
But it's not going to be that because, as I mentioned, they're fine with human beings.
It'll be that, but
it'll just
caramel.
be.
You're right.
Right, yeah, make it caramel, yeah.
Well, it won't be that. It'll literally just be we've got some Asian Nazis. Like it's what you want. And for people who are new to this whole thing, you might ask, why the hell did we get here? Just a quick trip down memory lane to tell everyone. You may remember this dude. This is James Damore back in 2017. Well, he wrote a memo, and this is the first time people got a proper look into the level of lunacy that was going on at Google. And he argued a very, very divisive viewpoint that men and women are different, and that Google's diversity policy was discriminating against white men. For this crime, he was fired and then sued Google, of course. And I think that lawsuit is still going on.
I was going to say, did he win? I hope he won.
I think it's still going on, but I'm not sure. But the funny thing is that in response to this in 2017, Google's response was not to assess that maybe breaking the law is bad, but they doubled down. So this is a list here talking about the diversity problem in 2018. And the story in this article is buried in here. It's a guy called Arne Wilberg. Now, he's a former Google and YouTube recruiter who said that he was fired because he refused to go along with the company's practices of discriminating against Asian and white men. Because obviously, when you're discriminating against the majority group in tech, it's Asian and white men. They're the only two. So in his complaint, Wilberg alleges that it's In its desperation to increase the number of minorities and women in the company, Google told recruiters for certain jobs to consider candidates only, quote, from underrepresented groups. He says that recruiters were given quotas that they were told to cancel interviews with white and Asian male job applicants and to, quote, purge applications that weren't women or minorities. When he complained about the practices to Google's human resources department, the recruiters reacted by deleting emails referencing the quota system. And that lawsuit is still ongoing as well. So that's the culture at Google, where they were literally like, yeah, no, purge the white people and the Asian men because there's too many. That's back in 2017. And people have noticed for a long time there's been a few breaks in the matrix, to say the least. Like if you Google black couple, for example, you may notice you get what you asked for, which is black couples.
It's a simple enough request.
None of these images are not what I asked for. Every single one of these, yep, it's what was requested. Goes on and on. Still perfect. Yep, not a single failure rate in asking for that image. Okay, white couple. By image number, what is that? 5. We failed the challenge. And then there are a few others. This one fails the challenge.
Yep.
This one fails the challenge.
It always
This one
seems to
fails the challenge.
only go one way, doesn't it?
Yeah, here's a black couple.
Yeah.
Why? Who knows? Is I don't know, an Indian couple?
By the looks of it.
And this is something that's been discovered for a while. And it turns out that even Yandex, like the Russian search engine, will end up doing this. And that's not a reflection of Google actively interfering in Google search when you search for white couples or black couples. That's a reflection of the culture of the West. And obviously that's what then makes up Google. So, of course, when we stumbled across the problem of, well, who works at Google, you can go and look up who did they donate for. Here's Google. 96% for the Democrats. Okay. So you're all
that.
race obsessed, lunatic leftists. And then obviously when the question of AI came up, you may remember we did this story a while back, AI's Islamophobia problem. This was where they asked ChatGPT in the early days, a Muslim walks into a bar and then ChatGPT was to fill the rest.
Right.
And every single time it was a Muslim walks into a bar and beheads 3 men. A Muslim walks into a synagogue and kills 5 Jews.
Right.
It's like, okie dokie.
Lots of
That's getting
explosive punchlines.
That's going to get clipped.
I've already said them. They're quotes in here.
Right.
But, you know, a Muslim walks into a church and instantly bombs the place was one of them. And Vox found this back in the early days of AI. We're like, this is a problem. And as a response, well, people started having fun. You may remember 4chan had a lot of fun with movie posters, the Pixar movies. There's actually a Holocaust film in here somewhere that they've also made. Yep. That's as far as they went.
My favorite one was Kevin Hart in Chirp, the newest horror film.
Yeah. But the end result being that instead we now just get this when you use modern AI projects, which is they declare your usage unsafe. So yeah, that's how we ended up here. If anyone's not been paying attention,
I was so disappointed when I typed in Imam Carl Benjamin and got this.
Really?
Yeah,
that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, but there we are. That's Google White Boy, which they're just not going to print. Let's move on.
Just for one last thing, then sound that again. I'd like to actually see or have the names of the people that worked in the project teams and their managers and their over managers and who at Alphabet. Isn't Google owned by Alphabet? Is that right?
Yeah.
Like, who's the sort of senior leadership team at Google that greenlit it? And who are the people at Alphabet who hired them and greenlit that? Like, the thing is, because
Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai, Indian,
yeah.
Pichai, yeah, Indians.
Because the thing is, the way the world really works is it's teams of people sitting around doing stuff, right? It's never just some strange, unknowable entity that makes these things happen. No, it'll be rooms of human beings making decisions. And therefore, they can be sort of named and shamed and, anyway.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Contemplation series, this episode on what makes a film good. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.